Hello everyone, it is your boy, Bleach or Fate Hub, whatever you want to call me, and I know it's been about 3 weeks since I last recorded a video, but I wanted to make sure I did Solomon justice. I wanted to make sure I had all of the facts. So on top of waiting for the Solomon arc to be completed on NA, there was also the fact that over on the JP servers of the game, we actually saw Solomon pop back up, and I wanted to make sure that didn't, give us any more feats to work with or anything for Solomon. But without any further ado, let me just go ahead and get right into this video. So I guess we'll go ahead and start off with talking about how powerful Solomon is, starting off with his bare bones weakest feat of creating a conceptual universe, which would qualify him for being high universal as he is creating a universe. From there, you could scale Solomon to being 6-dimensional or complex multiversal, as he would be destroying Avalon, as Avalon only disappears once history has been erased, and that is the whole point of Solomon's plan, is to erase history. So with Solomon erasing history, he would be destroying Avalon. Avalon has been stated to have 6-dimensional defense, so Solomon would essentially be destroying a 6-dimensional thing. Then you can scale Solomon to being 8-dimensional, as BB has the power of the Moon Cell, and the Moon Cell is capable of creating 8-dimensional constructs, and even BB would have to get through an 8-dimensional construct to even get to the Moon Cell's core, which he has done, and she was absorbed by Kiara, who is then beaten by Gilgamesh or varying other servants depending on what route you took in Fate Extra CCC. And since Solomon stands above all other servants, since he's a grand servant, he would logically scale above those characters who are capable of beating a being who absorbed someone who is capable of creating 8-dimensional constructs. So you can scale Solomon to being 8-dimensional that way. Now, speed is fairly easy to cover when it comes to the Fate-verse, because Solomon, by virtue of his Noble Phantasm, pretty much gave everyone in the verse immeasurable speed, just because his Noble Phantasm exists outside of time, which moving in an area that is outside or beyond time would mean you have immeasurable speed. So it's a pretty cut and dry, simple feat to just throw out there, and not only Solomon, but everybody in the verse pretty much has immeasurable speed, which is pretty nice. To start with Solomon's abilities, we'll cover his class skills, and they're all pretty basic caster class skills. Territory Creation A is a very high rank of territory creation, but at the end of the day, it's just Solomon is able to create an area that benefits him, kind of like Caster using Ryudoji Temple in Fate Stay Night to kind of benefit her and to make it her own little workshop or whatever. It's kind of like that. Then there's Rapid Casting C, which means he can weave spells really fast, but because he focuses on things meticulously, he does kind of fumble, and that's why it's rank C. And then there's Item Construction C, which just means, hey, Solomon can create magical items, so it's, not that big of a deal. Now, Solomon's personal skills are actually really good. Starting off with Revelation B, they pretty much describe it as, hey, it's like instinct, except it applies to all facets of making decisions. So, you know how Artoria is able to use instinct to kind of decide on what the proper turn to make in a battle would make, or the proper move to make? It's like Solomon has that, but about all of his actions, and that's just a really good skill to have in general. Then there's his summoning ability, which allows him to summon the 72 demon god pillars, which are stated in Goetia's little description that they're actually all conceptual beings. So in order to take out these beings, you would have to have conceptual attack potency, right? Which is not all that common in versus debating. It's one of the highest forms of attack potency you can get. So the fact that he can summon 72 of these beings that most beings aren't going to be able to kill is also really good for him, especially when paired with his second Noble Phantasm, which we'll get into later. His final skill is Clairvoyance EX, which essentially lets Solomon see the past and the future all at once, and it kind of gives him this really good, insane precognition, right? So just having that ability paired with Revelation and all of his other abilities pretty much means Solomon should never get caught off guard. There are very few instances in the story where he's like, I can't see this. For instance, Chaldea, because Chaldea exists outside of time, he's not able to see it. It's kind of similar to Gilgamesh's clairvoyance, where Gilgamesh couldn't tell anything about Quetzalcoatl because her history technically didn't exist because Solomon erased it. So besides that, Solomon having the ability to see the past and then the future would give him insane insight in a battle. I'm gonna just kind of gloss over Solomon's first Noble Phantasm because it's pretty much just a suicide attack. He just kills himself and completely erases all the demon pillars, any history that he was involved in, anything that happened because of his actions, and just erases him from the Throne of Heroes and whatnot. We're gonna kind of just gloss over that because it's a suicide attack. It really doesn't have any application in a versus debate. Solomon's second noble phantasm is the reality marble, where the final singularity actually takes place, and the cool shtick for this noble phantasm is not that, you know, it's not only outside of time and whatnot, but while within this reality marble, the demon god pillars will infinitely regenerate, and they'll keep coming back no matter how many times they are destroyed, as long as the reality marble is up and Solomon is alive. I mean, if Solomon is killed, the reality marble goes down and they can't regenerate anyway, so it's like, kind of a moot point. But within this noble phantasm, the demon god pillars are immortal and they will never cease to die, so they're already really hard to kill, and then you're gonna have to kill them an infinite amount of times in order to get to Solomon, and even that, they'll just keep regenerating, so it's a pretty nifty little wombo combo he can do. Solomon's final noble phantasm is those giant rings of light you see in every singularity when you first arrive, and they basically have the power of millions of Excaliburs thrown together, and is what Solomon uses to destroy all of human history and Navalot and all that good stuff. So it's a very powerful, like, ultimate DBZ attack that he kind of seems to be able to fire off in quick succession if you take the battle against Goetia into account. You know, he's like, oh, I fired it against Mash, and then I'm just gonna reload it real quick and fire it again. So it's not even like some big, like, noble phantasm he has to charge up for a long period of time. You can just kind of fire it in succession, not quickly, but, you know, fairly continuously. Some other little things about Solomon, like his presence itself, described by Shakespeare, says that it crushes everything around him and that he has like infinite mana or something, so he's kind of got like that Aizen Bleach just chatty aura that just crushes everything around him just by existing. Then it's also stated by Goetia that he was going to create a new world with new concepts, as there was going to be no concept of death when he created the new planet that he envisioned, so Solomon should also have the ability to create new worlds with new concepts as well. There's also that. Then going in a bit more detail with the whole grand title thing, yeah, it's like stated numerous times when he first appears in London that as a grand heroic spirit, he just stands above all the others and there's nothing they can do to stop him. In fact, like, it's stated by him, by Mordred, and then even Hans goes into detail about how he's like in a whole other league and has a whole higher authority than they do. It's like, oh, if we were just meant to fight individuals, he was made to take on the planet. And so they're just like, yeah, his just authority and powers at a whole other level than ours. And he kind of just waves away Kentucky, Tamamo, and Shakespeare, just like kind of just a wave of his hand and kills them. So it's not even like he needs his noble phantasms or anything to stand above all the other servants. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. If y'all enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe, and also comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. In the top right hand corner, you can vote on the next Fate video, which will be on the Berserker class. Your options will be Hercules from Fate Stay Night, Lancelot from Fate Zero, Raiko from Fate Grand Order, Ku-Alter from Fate Grand Order, or Frankenstein from Fate Apocrypha. The next video on the channel will be over Adult Toshiro from the Bleach series, so if you're looking forward to that, you know, just stay subscribed and get hyped. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace. Late, guys.